Scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with day 2 of December Daily 2020, and today I'm doing a single page layout, which will actually be part of a double page layout telling 2 stories about our Christmas tree, but I'm working on this one first, and what I've done is I've pre-planned this in Photoshop a bit so that I could cut out these hexagons to the appropriate size for the page, obviously, and also to pre-format my journaling. So what I want to do, and I will warn you in advance, there is a lot of trial and error in this video that I cut out because obviously it would be an insanely long video if I left it all in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create folds for these photos so that they are three-dimensional, sort of like ornaments hanging from a tree is initially what I was going for, but I kind of abandoned that plan a little bit. So what I'm doing is I've cut out patterned paper squares on cardstock that I am scoring down the middle, and that is going to create the three-dimensional effect for these ornaments. I need 2 different patterned cardstock hexagons scored down the middle and folded to create the three-dimensional effect. And then I cut my photo down the middle, and I'm going to adhere 1/2 to each of the cardstock papers that I am using for each ornament, and I obviously also adhered my journaling down to 1/2 of this pattern paper as well. So you can see I folded over, and now the second half of it will kind of hold that first half closed or open, I guess. There is still, like, it will take a little bit of time in my album for it to get nice and flat so that the photos lay down nicely because of the thickness of the cardstock, but that'll happen over time, so they are a little bit more three-dimensional when this is all said and done. Then I want them to be for long-term storage, but they will get flat as I work on my album. So I am adhering the second cardstock hexagon down, and so now I have a hexagon ornament that has the photo in the middle and journaling on one side and just a patterned piece of paper on the other, and I'm repeating the process for both the top and the bottom ornaments as well, using my bone folder to make sure that everything gets laid down nicely. So what I did at this point was I got my sewing machine out and I stitched down the middle of each of these ornaments and all the way up to the top of the page so that they look like they were dangling ornaments, you know, kind of stitched down, but I hated it. And so I ended up cutting them all off of that white cardstock, and instead I'm going to use black cardstock, which I think sets off the photos a little bit more. And I'm going to be honest, I struggled hardcore because I abandoned my original plan halfway through this layout. So because I'm doing the same thing, but it threw me off not loving all of the stitching that I did and not loving the way that it was coming out. So I struggled hardcore embellishing the rest of this page, and it does come out in the end, and I do pull it off, but it definitely took a lot of struggle to get to something that I liked. So I'm using these cut out titles from the Stay Home digital kit. I designed these titles to look like wire for the cursive word and then stamped for the block word. And I actually printed them out on diamond glitter cardstock from Cardstock Warehouse so that they have a cute little sparkle on them. You can't really tell on the video, but you can tell in person, and I have a video on my reels on my Instagram that shows the glitter on them as well. And so I printed these out on glitter cardstock, and I am going to use this as my title. It's going to say Holiday Cheer. I'm going to glue it down, and then it leaves this weird trapped, I guess, black space in between the title and the photos that I really struggled with. It really bothered me for most of this layout. I finally end up putting something there that kind of mitigates that black space, but it definitely was not my favorite thing. I should have, just looking at this now, I should have put that ornament there and it would have been perfect. But what was really bothering me about having that ornament there was that the ornament was hanging vertically and the orientation of the title was obviously different than the hanging ornament, and it was really catching me up in that moment. But now looking back at it, it would have been fine and I probably would have liked it better than what I ended up with. So that's a bummer. But it is what it is, right? Move on. The page came out cute and it's super fun to play with, so whatever. Trying to incorporate these houses, and the struggle that I'm having is that these embellishments are on the large side because they are the digital embellishments that I printed out. They are larger than the sticker size, and they are larger than the planner sticker size as well. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull out the planner stickers that I have left over, and I'm going to use these instead because these are the perfect size for this layout specifically. So I'm going to stick some of these stickers in here, and I really didn't want to cut them down the middle for those folds, but it kept like pulling up every time I folded it, and so it wasn't really that secure. So I'm going to end up taking an X-Acto knife and cutting right down the middle of that word bit and any other ones that I put over the center of those folds. And I just really kind of want to embellish these cute little patterned papers. I could have left them the way that they were, but it really felt unfinished to me. And so I just put some light embellishment on them just to make them interesting. I could have gone a little bit farther, but the fold and just changing my whole plan really did trip me up, so I was kind of just trying to make it work at this point. I should have put it aside and come back to it later, but really I spent like 6 hours scrapbooking 2 December daily layouts on this day, so I just was in a weird headspace, I think. So I'm just going to add a few more stickers in here. I have some places that need some stickers still. I'm adjusting this photo so that it folds open and closed a little bit better. Taking it off screen to do it closer to my face because I am blind. So I put that little mask there, and I'm going to put a little Santa in a mask too, just make a little cluster. Just something cute to really signify 2020. This collection, my Stay Home for the Holidays collection, obviously was designed with quarantine Christmas in mind. So you're going to be seeing it a lot because this is the quarantine Christmas, and I'm using it for the majority of my album. So I put that little fa la la there because I felt like it was nice and sarcastic for the journaling. That's what I haven't talked about. The journaling on this layout is a bit not sarcastic, but it is talking about how this tradition we have of decorating the Christmas tree the day after Thanksgiving has really turned into something that my kids just kind of rush through and don't really care much about because they're teenagers. And so that's kind of where the journaling is at. And so I felt like the fa la 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 felt sarcastic enough with that holiday cheer layout or title to work. And so I'm just putting down these glitter stars, and I felt like that was what I needed, like some sort of grounding for that outside edge of the layout, and I thought that that worked a lot better. So now I am just about done here. I'm going to glue it to the back side of my last layout and call it good. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you're not already, you should follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Traci M. Reed, and I'm doing an Advent video. You can see some of the things that are included in those Advent videos in this end of this video. All right. Thank you.